Well, I think we can now take a look at today's French newspapers with our press reviewer, Florence Vimineau, who joins me now. And Florence, the closing of the Peugeot factory in the suburbs of Paris is certainly hitting a lot of the front pages.
That's right. We're going to start by looking at the business papers here, starting with Les Echos. Very dramatic response in Les Echos. They say that Peugeot Citroën, they call it the bombshell, and you see a photo of the CEO of the company, Philippe Varin, with a very long face. He says that the government says that this plan is unacceptable and that the trade unions are going to put up a very tough fight. Now, the business paper La Tribune also takes a look at this and calls it a ticking time bomb. They say that the financial situation for the company is very explosive, and they said that by announcing the shutdown of this historic site, Peugeot is sending a shockwave that's going to affect all of France's industry, and it's putting a hot potato in the hands of the government because, as I said, this is a very symbolic site.
And other papers looking more at the political consequences of this shutdown, what it all means for the government.
That's right. Le Figaro, the right-wing newspaper, says that it's not looking so good for François Hollande's socialist government. It says that the government is caught in a trap. The right-leaning newspaper is calling this the very first big challenge for the government. And inside it takes a closer look and says that the government is in shock. This has become a state affair for François Hollande's government. And in fact, the French productive recovery minister, Arnaud Montebourg, says that as it stands, Peugeot Citroën's plan is unacceptable. Le Figaro says that this is kind of an earthquake on the political, economic, and social scale, and it's putting a lot of pressure on François Hollande.
Okay, so that's the right-wing paper, Le Figaro. But meanwhile, the left-leaning newspaper, Libération's wondering just what's left of the French automobile industry.
That's right. Libération wonders, can we still talk about made in France when we're talking about the French auto industry? Is that still something we can say? So, peut-on encore produire français dans l'industrie automobile? And in their editorial, Libération likens this to a bloodletting on the part of Peugeot Citroën. And it says that three big questions come up in this situation. First of all, how responsible is the upper management in Peugeot Citroën? What's the future of France's automobile industry? Is it a outsource or die scenario? And what about the political powers? How can they attempt to kickstart France's industry and productivity when these key factories are shutting down? So according to Libération, that's really going to be the key challenge for François Hollande during his presidency.
Okay, now moving on to another story. The French papers are also covering that high-altitude mountain climbing disaster in the Alps. An avalanche there killed 9 people yesterday.
That's right. It's the most tragic mountain climbing accident in France in the last decade. It was on Le Mont Maudit, which is a smaller mountain on the way up to Mont Blanc, which is a very popular destination. About 300 mountain climbers are on or around the mountain every day. So Le Parisien covers this on their front page. They cover what they call the dangers of racing to the top. So they point out precautions that mountain climbers should take. Le Parisien also gives a detailed account of just what happened. It seems like there were no real bad foreboding signs. The weather was pretty good. There wasn't a particularly high risk of avalanches, and it wasn't particularly dangerous part of the climb, according to a guide that the Parisien quotes. And unfortunately, the mountain climbers didn't make any mistakes. It was just the risks of mountain climbing, unfortunately.
Okay, and finally, the French press also talking about François Hollande, the president's family life, because this week his son reportedly came out with some scathing remarks about François Hollande's partner, Valérie Trierweiler.
That's right. Le Parisien calls it Hollande's family trouble. Now, Thomas Hollande, François Hollande's eldest son, was talking to Le Point this week, and he said that Valérie Trierweiler was out of line. Now, what he's referring to is an episode that happened last month during the legislative election. So Valérie Trierweiler, François Hollande's partner, tweeted her support for a rogue candidate in the city of La Rochelle. And it just so happened that this candidate was running against François Hollande's former partner, Ségolène Royal, who was the official candidate for the Socialist Party. And it turns out that she lost. So Valérie Trierweiler drew a lot of criticism for this tweet. And François Hollande's son broke his silence in Le Point this week and tarnished what he says that this tweet tarnished his father's reputation. He also says that Trierweiler was completely completely out of line. And he questioned this kind of controversial attempt of hers to stay a journalist all the while living at the Élysée Palace. Now, Hollande is set to address this issue tomorrow. He's going to give his traditional Bastille Day address to the nation tomorrow, and he's going to supposedly set the story straight.
Okay, we will look forward to hearing what he has to say. Thank you very much indeed, Florence Vimino, for that look at today's French national papers.